How does your product use or challenge conventions? And how does it represent social groups or issues? My film is a cross-genre horror thriller with a public message about how females can be vulnerable when they travel alone on public transport within London. Throughout my film, I have followed some of the standard codes and conventions that are found in thriller stories, but I have also challenged some of these conventions. For example, isolated places, dark, gloomy, empty locations, as I believe this enables me to get my message across much better. Some of the standard conventions I have included are mystery. The narrative of the opening sequence starts with a man following a girl into a tube station. This creates a bit of mystery. Is he following her? What is going on? What is he going to do? What will happen? This helps to build up the mystery and keeps the audience interested and wanting to know. Camera shots. Where necessary, close-up shots are shown to show tension, concern, or emotion on someone's face. Over-the-shoulder shots are used to show what is happening, and establishing shots are shown to show where the action is taking place. The girl can be seen looking over her shoulder in a concerned way that she might be being followed. Different camera shots are used to reinforce some of the horror thriller conventions, like, for example, close-up shots and over-the-shoulder shots showing that the protagonist realizes she is being followed, complete with monochrome flash-forwards to suggest something evil is going to happen in the future. Colours and dress. The protagonist wears colourful, fashionable clothing, indicating she is a normal, everyday young woman. The antagonist, on the other hand, is dressed in a dark jacket with a dark hat and gloves to make him more menacing. Props. A key prop is shown partway through the movie, a strangulation or tie-up cord. The music I have used plays a key part in creating the suspense and feeling present in my horror thriller movie. The music is low-key, dark, and at times unsettling, which can add to the mystery. Throughout the film, I use low-key, tense music to help build the suspense. Any time the antagonist makes an appearance, I have added a chime. And when danger appears to be present, the tempo and sound increase. In the final section of the film, I have added rapidly beating drums to highlight the chase scene as I run away from the stalker. Flash forwards. Partway through the movie, a couple of flash forwards are shown in monochrome to highlight the potential danger ahead. Mise-en-scène. I have considered mise-en-scène. I have made sure the antagonist is dressed in black and carries a nasty cord to tie up or strangle someone. The protagonist is dressed normally in bright, fashionable colours, but there was no need for any specific preparations for the location or setting, as I was able to use the streets of central London for filming and make use of the natural scenery for my mise-en-scène. Film theme. Many films have a theme or set of values that the director is trying to get across to the audience. I have a theme in this movie. My theme is about the darker side of humanity, in that it can occasionally be dangerous for a female travelling on their own on London transport. The issue raised. The issues my film raises are the potential danger of travelling alone on London transport. Social groups. The issue of vulnerability is applicable to all social groups, but is very relevant to females travelling alone on public transport. It is for that reason that the protagonist features a lone young female being stalked by a man. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed in real media text? My target audience would be mostly females, but primarily those who travel alone and are young. maybe under the age of 40 years old, with a specific focus on the under 25 age group. How could I distribute the film? I would start by getting my film onto social media channels like YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram in order to raise the visibility of the issue. I would also contact lots of my friends and tell them to post a link to the film on Twitter to see if this will generate more interest and result in the film issue going viral. While I would like it if one of the majors like a Warner Brother or Universal Picture took an interest in my social message, I rather doubt that they would, as there would be very little money in it for them, other than the possibility of improving their social image. If I could get sufficient attraction on social media, I would approach one of the independent movie makers to see if they would be willing to insert my short movie as a filler. Finally, I would make it available to art galleries and small theatres where they could show the movie at any time. How did your production skills develop through the piece? This was my first ever film, and this practical experience has taught me a great deal about the production skills I need to make a film. The first skill that I acquired was the need to create a storyboard and develop a script which told my story. My script was about a girl who is followed by a man after she gets off public transport and is kidnapped and then killed. In order to give the actors a good understanding of my story, I also had to develop a storyboard along with the script. The storyboard was a pictorial representation of my story. Using the technique, I was able to think about how the story should be filmed on the camera. I needed to think about camera angles, camera shots, and where the film would take place. After my experience of talking to my actors, I realized I really needed to create a shot list so that they would have a better understanding of what I needed them to do. I spent a lot of time on my shot list, making sure it made sense and matched my storyboard and script. I also created a shooting schedule so that everyone understood what was expected when and where. Before I started my film, I visited the area I was going to shoot the film to check the area and make sure I knew where the filming would take place. I looked for any obvious things I wanted to include in my film, the mise en scène, and took several still photographs of the area. One complication here was neither of my two actors were available on the new filming date. As a result, I now had to take the lead role as well as direct the film. What I learned from this is that both acting and directing is not an easy task. I also learned that all the preparation I had done in terms of script, storyboard, shot list and shooting schedule came in very handy. Once I completed my film, I now needed to edit it. For this, I used Premiere Pro. I managed to get a trial version of Premiere Pro on my PC. My biggest challenge here was learning how to use Premiere Pro. In order to do this, I experimented at school and spent a lot of time working and watching videos on YouTube as to how to use Premiere Pro. From this, I learned how to edit, cross-edit and cut my shots, as well as adding titles and background music I had to download from the internet. How did you integrate technology, software, hardware, online in this project? I used several pieces of technology to make my movie. To begin with, I used Microsoft Word to write my script, and I used my iPhone to photograph my storyboard and send this to my actors. My film was shot using a Panasonic GF6 camera. For editing and reviewing my film, I used Premiere Pro in order to shorten and edit my film clips. I also used Movavi for the screen capture along with Microsoft snipping tool. I used the internet to search for copyright-free music, which I could use in a thriller. I then used a program called Audacity to record the background music and sound. I used my iPhone to record my dialogue comments for this evaluation. The video editing I did on my home computer, which gave me plenty of time to experiment and use trial and error to create my film. Without access to a computer or the internet, I would have never been able to complete my film.